with, apart from the usual challenges of unreliable and interrupted internet or internet accessibility. When you look at a chapter like handling objections, yes, if we go to the next slide, it gives you a breakdown of what the chapter entails. Probably the most important from that learning outcomes is that we have to identify the reasons or variety of reasons why people object. We have to also look at different methods on how to deal with it. And we need to look at different types of objections that we can get. Because if we know the type of objection, we know usually what method to apply to it. So it's important when you go through this that you do know it, and if the different types of objections. And you know what the important thing about, and I've said it before as well, with objections is make sure that you don't take it personally, because there are a lot of reasons why people complain and object. Sorry. Mainly it's because you haven't been clear enough in your presentation and they want more information. But the one right at the bottom, the fear for committing themselves to making a decision that might not be the right decision, is the underlying reason why people object to a presentation that you have made, or to a statement that you've made about a product that you are selling. That probably parallel to, and let's get Andre on board as well. Welcome, Andre. That parallel morning, fear of making the wrong decision, parallel to maybe resistance to change. People, we've just briefly in this morning's intro spoke about change and how a change in routine sort of throws your entire planning and sets a whole new mood. People fear change more than anything else in life. People fear it because change means something new that they're not used to. Once they get used to it, there was a lot of uncertainty in March last year when we went into hard lockdown. We didn't know how long it's going to be. We didn't know exactly how it's going to impact on us. And then people started dying, and it was a lot of uncertainty. And because there's uncertainty, there's fear amongst customers, and therefore they don't commit themselves. Therefore, they fear to commit themselves, and they're reluctant to commit themselves. And the best way of addressing this is if you can see that somebody's troubled, and if you can sort of anticipate even before they object and see that there's a bit of resistance and uncertainty, provide them with more information. Just interrupt yourself by saying, I can see that you are struggling to understand exactly what I'm trying to say. Let me just highlight that again to you. That immediately puts them the mind at ease a bit. But then you have to summarize and be very clear on what you're saying after that. But just keep in mind, in this particular chapter, as I said in the intro, the important things for us would be to look at the reasons why people object, and we have it on the screen. Look at the different types of objections that we can expect to get, and then also the methods and how we deal with it. Those are the three crucial elements in this particular chapter. If we don't finish in time, people, I know you have class the whole morning, so unfortunately we don't have the luxury of a double period, so I can't extend it, but I'll continue with it in the next period because it's important. But again, this is a summary of stuff that we have dealt with. And as we progress through this, I'm going to more sort of allow you opportunities to ask specific questions as to clarify in your mind if you understand it the way that it's intended to. Right. Let's deal with common objections. Oh, the first one, obviously, price. Always price. Price is the one that they go to if they don't know anything else to object to, because you can do a thorough presentation and think, oh, geez, because there's still a bit of fear to commit themselves to a decision because it might be the wrong one. and therefore they go to a you know what, price is a bit high. You know what? That's an invitation to say, okay, is price your only objection? Because if price is your only objection, we could work something out. And I think that is where the experience of doing sales help you a great deal to sort of preempt what's going to happen and what you need to do when a specific objection comes in. And that's the dealing with complaints or dealing with objections, where objections initially refer to people's uncertainty before they've committed themselves to purchase, where complaints deal with specifically problems that they have after they've committed themselves to purchasing. Okay, so it's the same thing. It's a reflection of an unhappy or unsatisfied customer. The one now has not committed himself yet, and that's why it's just objecting, and we're only seeing it as an objection and not as a complaint. They're not complaining. They haven't committed themselves. You've done nothing wrong. It's an objection, so they want more information. Where if they have committed themselves, they have bought the product, and then something went wrong after that, it becomes a complaint. Just differentiate between the two of those, please. Everybody clear on that? Or do you want to ask me a question specifically regarding that? Or anything that we've done up to now? Okay. Let's advance. And if I skip slides, it's because we are revising the work that we've done already. If you can, it's always good to, in your preparation, plan for potential objections that you expect people to have or to come up with. And that's why it's good sometimes to try your presentation on a friend. I'm going to ask you a question. Just give me your honest opinion and how you would react if I was trying to sell you this product. And a good friend will help you with that. But again, prepare. If you prepare, then you would almost, when you see the non-verbal reactions and cues that the customer is expressing, you would know, I can see they're going to object, and this is going to be the objection. So sometimes it's good if you have in your preparation be thorough enough, and you also have picked up on that particular non-verbal cue, and therefore you address the objection before it is raised by the customer. That's the good thing, but only if that was, if you're 100% sure that that was what the objection was going to be. Because if it's not, you've now maybe opened a can of worms, because you've now raised an objection that the prospect haven't thought of. Okay, and then you're in trouble. But again, you can come and you can dig yourself out of that hole too. It's not an issue. It's just you've made it a bit more tough on yourself. Right. So if you can anticipate it, it will help you with your with your preparation. When somebody objects, acknowledge. So you know what? Yeah, we've had some previous customers with similar concerns like you have, but let me tell you, so and so and so have bought our products. They've been very happy. I know they initially were reluctant because they have been using a different product, which was reasonably successful, but they are ecstatic now with the new results that our product has given them. So acknowledge it, but also react to it in a positive manner by highlighting again a benefit that your product offers. Do not ignore an objection and think it's going to go away. It's just going to compile to become a much bigger problem if you keep on ignoring it. Firstly, your immediate reaction or assumption by the prospect would be that this company is trying to hide something. That's why they don't want to directly reply to the objection that I've raised. Maybe they don't have an answer. Maybe they are hiding something. So don't create suspicion if there is no suspicion. Remain positive. Listen, and we've spent some time on this topic. Listening is key, and listening is extremely important to identify what actually is being said. Listening is going to open up is going to release your ability to read between the lines. If you listen with great attention, you'll pick up what the customer is actually concerned about and what his real objection is. And we'll get to that later, because obviously we'll in this chapter look at specific types of objections, and then obviously handling those through specific methods. If you understand the objection, if you're unsure, repeat it and make sure that that you understand exactly what the objection to, because sometimes people react very quickly to an objection, and then it's the incorrect reaction, and it actually just adds fuel to the fire. Right. And then obviously try and solve it. Try and meet the objection. Sometimes, as I said, you know what, so I can completely understand it. Like I said this morning, guys, I mean, I know that you are tired. I know that you are really struggling to balance everything. If this was your only class today, it would have been fine, but it's not. You have a whole morning of classes. You have other lecturers whose modules you're going to be writing tests on next week. So it's not a sort of, okay, which one do I miss? Almost have to attend everything, but that reduces the time that you have to actually prepare. So I know it's very difficult to find that balance, and it's similar to what salespeople are going through as well. And that's why I've acknowledged this morning that I've got a lot of empathy for the position you find yourself in at the moment, being very anxious, very tired, and people. Fortunately, that's also going to pass. And I have this morning already said to you, and I will repeat it, that I'm impressed with how you're dealing with it at the moment. I'm not sure if you're putting up a very nice front, and then actually we get you to your private room behind locked doors, you actually break down. But people just, again, it's an open invitation because of the situation that we find ourselves in at the moment, being a very difficult, anxious period, and especially finding enough time to do everything. You know that you can always reach out, and if there's any challenges, bring it to my attention. If I don't know, I don't know. On that subject, if I can interrupt myself before I go to the next slide, and that would be to specifically look at the different types of objections. Yesterday, you asked me, Tarquin, about what happens on the 19th. You've already have a confirmed date to do your drivers. It's another milestone. I think it's very important. I unfortunately do not have a concrete answer for you. I do know that on the 19th, because it's going to be a closed book exam, like you did in June, 3 hours, the time that has been scheduled for the 19th by Stadio is from 8 in the morning till 12. And I would recommend that you bring it to the attention. You've got your SOCOM box that you can actually communicate with the management of Stadio, and specifically the commercial the business faculty, I would recommend that you just drop them an email and say, this is your predicament. You know that you're writing your exams for this module on this particular day, and let them make a decision and come up with recommendations as to what they want you to do. The sooner you do that, if they are prepared to compromise and say it's okay, don't worry, it's fine, we can make a plan, then you know that you do not have to change your date at the traffic department. If they say, you know what, sorry, it's unfortunate, these things happen, we can't change the date of the exam, you have to sit the exam, then you know you're going to be finished by a certain time, and then you take the next step and communicate with the traffic department as to maybe doing the session later on that specific day, but because you are committed to an exam, because you can provide proof from Stadio that you actually are writing that exam on that day and in that time. That will be my recommendation. Tarquin, anything else on that? Would that be fine for a start for us to address this? Because it's still 3 weeks away, but still, let's address it right now. Would that work for you? Tarquin has fallen asleep because he was very, very tired, as he suggested. Teresa, are you still awake? Are you taking a power nap?
Yes, sir.
You still awake? I feel so honored. You're going to probably take a power nap in the next class. How are you doing, Andre?
No, I'm lucky, man. Thanks.
It's Thursday, but it's absolute no long weekend around the corner, so unfortunately.
Yeah, look, if you can send us the questions for tomorrow's exam,
yeah,
that'll really help us a lot.
Okay, but I mean, I have not heard any objections to writing the test tomorrow, so I don't know how to handle.
What?
I've had no complaints. Everybody says, "Well, it's fine. That's it. That's it."
No. You said you won't move on this. Yes, it'd be nice if you could move it out, but yeah, no, let's just do it.
No, I think it's one of those things. This is your first one. This is your first test, right? The other tests are next week.
Everything is next week. Everything is now. Everything is next week. Everything is. It's. I don't know. I don't even think Father Christmas is going to come visit this year.
Last Saturday it was 100 days to Christmas. 3 months to Christmas from last Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. And if you have my luck,
yeah.
My oldest son, my youngest son's birthday is on the 1st of December. My eldest son is on the 4th of December. The one turns 20 and the one turns 17. My wife's on the 9th, and my anniversary is on the 13th.
Of December.
I'm screwed within the first 2 weeks of December, my friend. Nobody's getting any Christmas presents.
That's where your bonus goes to.
Bonus? What's that? Bonus has been spent in January already and catching up on expenses made in December 2020.
No. Yes. How did you do that, Jacob?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how I got that recipe wrong. But anyway. You know what? At least I'm totally stuffed for 1 month. So,
the rest you're free. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, but I'm trying to negotiate a deal with him where we can switch around, because my birthday is middle of the year, so I'm going to try and swap birthdays for next year. So listen, guys, let's take a break. I've never had a summer birthday. You never had a winter birthday, so let's try and swap around. So it gives me more time to maybe plan. But then you know what?
You are setting yourself up for problems, because they're going to want something on that day as well.
Suppose I've survived for 21 years, so I can probably survive for another. Okay.
Okay,
people.
cool. I got to run.
Unfortunately, Andre, a good request, a reasonable request, but I have to obviously turn it down. I can't.
Thanks.
As to
Thanks a
providing
lot.
you with the questions. I think, however, and that's a hint I can give you, and
Yes.
I'll share again in the second period later today as well, the fifth period, that
Yes.
it's if you listen to the recordings that was done for the 4 revision sessions,
Yes.
last week and the 2 we're going to have today, and yesterday's to a certain extent as well, you will find some subtle hints hidden in there somewhere. Okay.
You know, it's so vague. It's so unspecific.
Okay, I can change that. Let me give you another tip.
Yeah.
There's going to
Open
be
the book.
there's going to be questions from every single chapter that you have to prepare.
Thanks, Jaco. That helps
Is that more
so
specific?
much.
No, guys,
Man.
I mean, there's just a nervous tension amongst everybody at the moment. But again, like I said this morning, and I will repeat that, and for anybody who will tune in for tomorrow morning's 8 o'clock session, I'm just gonna tomorrow morning's 8 o'clock session. I'm not going to do any new things. I'm just going to give you a 15-minute motivational session more than anything else, and some final tips. But again, I was marking papers the whole of yesterday after I finished all my classes. People, I cannot stress enough. I can still see people who incorrectly interpret questions. Or it could be deliberate. It could be that they think they're going to run out of time and they don't want to. You can always go back to a question. But please, if, for instance, like we see on the screen now, the question states, name the types of objections. I want nothing more than I have on the screen as an answer. But then I find that there are students who say, this is too straightforward. Don't second guess yourself. Read the question and simply ask the question. The question says, name the types of objections. Boom. Hidden objections, stalling objections, lack of interest, financial objections, product-related and company-related objections. Boom, that's it. That's going to take you a minute to answer that question, and you've got 6 marks, sorry. But then sometimes I find that students write more. Hidden objection, and they give me an example. I didn't ask for an example. So read the questions very clearly. I said yesterday, the advice that that teacher always gave his students, he says there's 3 things that you have to do for every question.
Read the question, read the question,
read the question. Number 2, read the question. Number 3, read the question. Because, and it's you know what, I tried it yesterday when I was marking a paper. I read the answer once. I read the answer again. And I read the answer for the 3rd time. You know what? In reflection, if I gave the student a mark based on reading the answer the first time, they would have 1 out of 3. They got 2 out of 3 because I read it 3 times. And it's important. It's a lesson that I share with you that I'm experiencing now as somebody who's grading papers and reading thousands of answers every day. And every student expresses themselves differently. People, read the question, and that's where everything starts. Okay. I'll reflect on that again in the second session this morning. But let's advance. We can complete the types of objections. The hidden objections is purely, they are not telling you exactly what's bothering them, and you obviously have to respond to that by asking another question to really try and find out what the real objection is. But sometimes also remember that they are hiding the objection through by submitting a trivial objection because they just don't want to offend you, or they don't want to disclose the real reason. And we have to obviously honor that as salespeople. Okay. People, another hint, I would say also read through the types of questions, examples that that has been given in your slides, right? For instance, this is hidden objection. The objection is, I would love to talk about it, but I really don't have the time right now. Okay. So what they're actually saying is, you know what, I can't make a decision because I have to consult with my wife. I'm actually just a line manager. I can't do it, but I have to run it past my my manager. Understand what a hidden objection is, understand what a stalling objection is, but also ensure that you have a good example of what each of them are, because that's going to help you understand what they are, but it might be something that will pop up at in some test or exam. A stalling objection, it's almost like a sort of a okay, right, let's okay, just hold your everybody hold their horses right now. I'm almost ready to actually make a decision, but I'm not sure, so I'm sort of stalling it because I don't want to make a decision yet. Maybe it's because I'm fearing that I'll make the wrong decision. Maybe I just need more information. Maybe I just need a little push. Again, look at the examples. We have enough of the product right now, but thanks for coming by. Right, you can respond to this. I can see that right now, sir. Thank you very much. What time would be? You know that our door's always open, so please, when you have, when you need more stock, when you're running low, well, maybe I can see that you still have stock. Yes, it's quite all right, but that's probably going to last you about a week or so. Do you mind if I call you in a week's time just to see what your stock's like? Okay, that's again a possible response that you can offer. So try and also look at the examples of responses that you can have to each objection. Lack of interest. You know what? Sometimes you have just not planned properly, and maybe you are pitching to the wrong person, and they are not going to buy anyway, or maybe they don't have a need for it. It happens. It's a great product, but if I don't need it, sure, I'm not going to buy it. Especially in the times we're in at the moment, where finances are tough. People are not going to buy things that they don't need. Okay. Financial objections. We know that this is the main objection and will always be an objection, but we also know that it's a clear indication that they are actually ready to engage into a transaction. They just want to actually negotiate a better price. Product related. Excuse me. It could be that you have not been very clear, and that you focus too much on telling them about the features that the product have, but you have not really showed the product, not really highlighted the benefits that they will get from buying the product. Maybe it's just again the reason why they object, and then all you have to do is to say, you know, quite right, sir. I mean, maybe I've spent too much time on telling what the product all offers, but let me rather share with you what benefits you can expect from this particular deal. You know what? If you buy this, if you engage in this product right now, or this package that we're offering right now, you're going to save so much time and so much money. And okay, that will be a reply to product-related one. And then sometimes, you know what? They've been working with a specific individual at a company which is not available anymore because they've moved on. So objection is directed at the company or a bad experience that they've had with the company, not necessarily a particular salesperson at the company. You are just the one who's getting the flag because you are representing the company. But they can object, and they do often object, especially if they have had a bad experience in the past with a particular company. Right. Techniques of dealing with objections. Listen, rephrase it and repeat it so you understand that you have heard it correctly and that you can react correctly. Ask what and why questions. What's really bothering you? Why are you actually saying that? Be tactful, and over time you will also be able to identify the real reasons, genuine reasons behind a hidden objection. Right. Guys, I know that you've had class since the first period this morning, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to give you extra 5 minutes off, so you've got 10 minutes till your next class. So I'm going to stop here, and then we can continue in our next session, the 5th period. We can continue with finishing this chapter and then also doing chapter 10. So we will still be on track, and we will still finish at the end of chapter 5 today. We would have gone through all 10 chapters, and we would have revised all 10 chapters to prepare you for tomorrow. And I will also have some time at the end of the next session, because chapter 10 is not a difficult chapter, and it's actually just dealing with how to close, and it's going to, there will be enough time for us to look at specific tips and hints that I can share with you, that I will prepare in I don't have to the next period. I've got the next period off, but for the 5th period I can share that with you as well. So you'll go out of today's sessions best prepared that you can be, yeah, let's take extra 5 minutes off, or you take extra 5 minutes off. I'll see you guys again just after 11. Okay. Are we all good? Thanks, Tarquin.